Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Basin. A Merry Christmas to everybody. Welcome back to those who are already channel followers. And welcome back to MMA Fancast. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel so you can see more great interviews, including this one with the victorious Alaina Dutill. Alaina Dutill, welcome back on the show, and a Merry Christmas to you.
And Merry Christmas to you too. Thanks for having me back.
It's great to have you back on the show. I got to meet you in person Saturday night at the 247 Fighting Championships Brawl in the Burgh 19. It was your first time fighting for the promotion. You put on a great fight. It was a very exciting fight. Talk to us about how it went from your perspective. You obviously got the win. Your opponent was tough. You guys together put on a great show.
Yeah, so it was the fight was like what I expected. I figured we were gonna keep it on our feet. We were gonna strike just like I did in my pre-interview. She was a lot tougher than I thought. Like she took a lot of damage from me. I was actually trying to get that TKO in the first round. Because I saw a little opening there and I went for it and she came back a little bit and I thought I could take it, but we ended up backing up into the cage and I ended up grabbing her instead. Sorry.
No problem.
But and then it went from there. So in every round we just kept striking. There was a time that I sweeped her. I thought it was going to go to the ground, but she had me on a up kick, she kept up kicking me away, and then she got up. So we ended up standing back up.
Yeah, it was. I know you have a heavy kickboxing background. We had talked about that before on this interview, and you did a great job sharing that. It basically was like, from my perspective, what is very exciting about MMA when it turns into like a kickboxing or Muay Thai match. Obviously, you're comfortable with that. How did you feel going into the third round? As far as, do you focus on where you think the fight is on the scorecards? Like, what were you thinking going into third, and then what were you thinking going into the judges?
So honestly, there was a little discouragement that went on when the fight got stopped when I threw that accidental head kick. I meant to just go right up into the rib cage, but it hit the shoulder, it slid up and hit her hand. And the ref kind of yelled at me, and I was like, oh my God, like, I got a little discouraged. So I slowed it down the second and third round because I was like, I got to be careful. But the second round, she started firing away. I was slipping her punches and stuff and getting myself out of the way. She did get some good hits on me. Nothing that like would be even close to TKOing me or anything, but she did rock me a little bit with that one punch that set my head back. But kudos for her for that one. That was great. Second round I felt was pretty close. The third round I felt like I got it back, but other than that, it was great second and third round with her overall.
Yeah, great. And these are 3 3-minute rounds, something you're used to, but I don't know if that was her first time in advanced. It might have been her second or third, but longer fights, longer rounds give for more opportunities, more openings. It was really a fun fight. It was really, really a fun fight to watch. What was your highlight as far as something that you enjoyed in the fight that you think really is kind of a beginning to develop you even more? Because obviously, I think you came in with almost 10 fights combined experience. So what did you think really worked well, or was a moment that really felt good for you?
What felt good for me is able being able to get out of the way of her punches and counter strike. It's that's not very like not many Amis have that ability to counter strike. I am a counter striker. That's how my boyfriend, my coach, that's how he taught me. Counter striking is the best way to strike when you're not pushing forward. If someone's coming into you, it's good to get out of that way, slip them punches, and counter strike back. That's a good way to provide defense in a fight when somebody's constantly causing pressure or involving my footwork like I did, able to move, strike, and get out.
Yeah, and that's great tips for somebody out there that's, still developing. It's one thing that I always kind of urge people to be aware of if they're starting out hitting heavy bag. That's why I think mitts can be more helpful, because a good mitt holder, a good coach will move and make people circle and counter and stuff. But a lot of times people get too rooted. You mentioned your feet. I think not only in kicking, but I think people don't realize, sure, what you do with your hands matter, but what you do with your feet even matters more as far as where you are. where you aren't and all those angles. It was very high level. I'm sure both of you will go back, watch the video, and pick things that you did great on both sides. And I think there's going to be things that you look at and go, oh no, I need to work on that. I'm sure she has things as well. And that's one of the beautiful parts about what you're doing. As far as, I mean, we're a week away from Christmas. That's obviously the most important thing. But as far as the new year 2024, you're obviously very experienced. Do you have a game plan for what's next? I personally on MMA Fancast would love to continue to follow you because I know your plans are to continue to develop as a fighter. But do you have any thoughts, or is it right now just being grateful to end 2023 on such a good note?
Well, that too, but I think February is probably going to be my next fight. There's nothing set up yet. I know Pittsburgh, 247 already reached out to me about a fight. We're unsure about that, but then Cage Wars also reached out to me about a fight. So I'm undecided on where I want to go with what promotion, but I know there's a couple offers out there. I know I'm trying to get on the USKA card. With the Kickboxing Association down, they usually, I think they're at Mount Carmel in February or January. They're doing a card too. So whatever one I can find a great matchup first, I'm willing to fight in February for the new year.
Well, that'll be great. Yeah, I know 247 announced a late February card. And obviously you mentioned Cage Wars, and I'm really excited to hear the name USKA. Gary Grant and I are buddies, at least we were in the past.
Oh,
Yes, yes. I still consider him a friend, and it's been a while since I've been out east, but it's great to hear that USKA is doing well. I started being involved and helping with USKA back when Irv Althouse was the owner, and then he stepped away
Yeah.
and sold it to Gary Grant. So Merry Christmas to both Gary Grant and Irv Althouse, just legends in kickboxing and Muay Thai, and really making USKA such a great thing for Eastern Pennsylvania. I mean, it really is a big deal. So whatever you do going forward, make sure you keep me in the loop. I'd love to have you back on to preview whatever fight you decide to go with in February, however that goes. And that's what's really exciting. Like, you've put yourself out there. You constantly are staying busy. And I think that is a good thing that 247's interest you, as well as, of course, Cage Wars and USK. It's a good problem for you, particularly as a female fighter. I mean, it's no secret that it can be hard to get matches, particularly among the female ranks. So I think it's awesome that you are in demand, as well as I'm sure Faith will get another fight soon and a bunch of other things. But it's just great to see three options for you. I mean, that's just good for the sport. So that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait to get back in there again. It's like it's like an addiction, you know. Just get back in there, and then maybe another two fights with amateur, and then I'm hoping by summer to sign pro, to be honest.
And since we're talking generally about pro, do you think you'd go pro Muay Thai or kickboxing first, or do you think you'd go pro MMA? Because for people that don't know, once you go pro in one, you're pro in the other. And so sometimes you might end up going pro in kickboxing, but spending most of your career in MMA, or vice versa. Sometimes people go pro in MMA, but spend most of their time fighting kickboxing or Muay Thai. So do you have an idea of what pro debut you'd prefer?
MMA for sure, just because I feel all like more all around it in MMA, and not just in a particular stand up. I mean, I know once you go pro in one, you gotta fight pro in all of them, but I'm mostly MMA and like kickboxing, so both of them sound good to me. Like a K1 Glory Rules type, you know, pro fight would be fine for me, or just a standard MMA fight.
Sure. Well, that's what's also cool with your connection with USKA is I know that they've had plenty of pro kickboxers or pro MMA fighters that then kickbox for them. Zach Kelly is a great example of a pro MMA fighter that also fought and I believe held a belt or at least fought quite often for USKA, as well as many others. So I'm sure it'll be a great opportunity for you, whatever you choose to do. I really appreciate you taking time after a very busy weekend. You still have Christmas prep to do. So thanks so much for jumping on. I'm sure a lot of people will be excited to hear your thoughts on what was an incredible fight, a great night of fights for 247 Fighting Championships Brawl in the Burgh 19. That's still available if people want to get the replay. But thanks so much for coming on. I've been Luke Payson with MMA Fancast with the victorious Alaina Dutill. Thanks so much and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you too. Thanks for having me.
Always
a
an honor.
pleasure.
Hope to have you in the future.
Of course.
You take care.